Hello everybody, today we are going to discuss the 18th chapter of The Invisible Man, which is titled The Invisible Man Sleeps. So far we read that he was feeling very sleepy till the 17th chapter. Now here, exhausted and very much wounded, tired, he was going to sleep, but before sleeping he wanted to confirm something, so he went up to the windows there, drew up the blinds and opened the sashes and confirmed that the retreat was possible through them or not. Then he went to the dressing room doors, and there also he saw that whether the freedom, the escape was possible through them or not, and he felt quite satisfied that yes, it was possible to escape through them. And now he turned to Dr. Kemp and said that Dr. Kemp, that yes, I'm sorry I couldn't tell you the whole story tonight, but I'm feeling quite tired, I want to sleep, and whatever, in spite of whatever you said in the morning, the arguments you offered in the morning, it is true, and I have made a discovery. It is quite reasonable. I wanted to keep it to myself, but I can't. I must have a partner, and we two can do things, but today I can't. Tomorrow, yes, I must sleep or perish. And Dr. Kemp, he only stared at him in wonder, in amazement. That headless garment was standing there. He heard the sound of yawning, and he only muttered to himself, incredible, the things happening like this, just upturning my conceptions. So he was saying like that, and then he said, is there anything more that I can get for you? He said, just bid me good night. So he just bid him good night and went to the door, just looking sideways. The invisible man followed him to the door and said finally that no attempts to hamper my freedom, no attempts to capture me. Remember, understand. And with this, he was out of the room. He told, Dr. Kemp told him that I suppose I have given word for that. And so with this, he was out. The door was locked upon him, the key was turned, and he was saying that, just slapping his forehead with his hand, that barred out of my own bedroom by a flagrant absurdity and outrageous absurdity. He was wondering and muttering like this. He heard the rushing of feet to the the dressing room doors, and they were also locked upon him. Now he was standing outside thinking that it's a fact, an undeniable fact. Yes, he went down to the dining room, lit up the lamp there, got out his cigar and started pacing up and down the room. And he was thinking that, is there anything like invisible animal? Then it struck upon him, yes, there are so many, like the larvae, microscopic things, jellyfish. There are so many invisible things in the sea than visible. Yes, but is there anything like invisible in the air? Perhaps not. No, there's nothing. Even if a man is made of glass, it will be visible. And now he moved to his consulting room. He has smoked almost 3 cigars. The cigars have gone into the invisible, and he found the newspapers lying untidily, all scattered there. He caught up one, and he got the heading. He found the story of Iping, a strange story from Iping. That was the title in that newspaper. He read everything, the whole story, and then he felt that perhaps no one is aware of his misfortune, hiding, disguised, all wrapped up. These were the things mentioned, and it seemed as if nobody was aware of his misfortune. Then he caught up another, that was St. James Gazette, and he turned over the pages. He read all the details mentioned in that. He found more of the news about the story in the Iping, and it was the accounts by the eyewitnesses were given. The account of Jeffers, the constable, that Jeffers insensible, Mr. Huckster in great pain and unable to describe what he saw, Vicar, painful humiliation, women ill with terror. So all these things were mentioned in that newspaper, and there were things about the telegraph wire that he went about striking right and left, and all these things were mentioned, but he couldn't understand, or he couldn't get anything about Marvel, that when the deuce that Marvel, that tramp come in, when and why was he running, he couldn't get anything about that, so he was quite confused. And then it was morning, the dawn was mingling with the light of the lamp, the atmosphere was turning dark to pale or whitish bit, there was the light coming in, and the servants also woke up. They saw their master passing up and down. They thought that it might be the overstudy, that overstudy had worked ill on him. Now he ordered them to lay to breakfast in his belvedere, the study room, and to confine themselves to the basement or the ground floor. They were perplexed, but they thought it might be due to overstudy, and he was waiting for the morning newspaper, and as soon as the paper came, he read everything in that as well, and he got more about the happenings in Port Burdock, because there was a badly written account of a remarkable story in the Port Burdock, and he got details of the happenings in Jolly Cricketers, and he got the name of Marvel as well, that he kept me for 24 hours, that was what Marvel said. So all these things were there, but there was nothing to throw light on the books that Invisible Man had told him, or the money that he had, that where did he get the money and all that. There was nothing about that, so he was quite confused, and moreover he thought that perhaps he was turning mad, he was turning almost maniac, he was the rage was turning to mania. All these things were going into his mind, and he thought, now what should I do? What should I do? He was thinking badly on that, he was thinking hard, and then he thought, would it be a breach of faith if I... But then he thought, no, and so he took a piece of paper, he went to an untidy table in the corner, he took a piece of paper and started writing. He tore the half-written page and then took another and again started writing, and he mentioned about the Invisible Man in that, and finally he put it in an envelope, and that was addressed to Colonel Adai of Port Burdock. Yes, Colonel Adai of Port Burdock. Before that, he had told his housemaid to go and bring all the new morning newspapers, and he had read them all, read the stories mentioned in them as well, every line of that, and now he was quite sure that perhaps he was turning mad, the rage was turning into mania. So he was quite sure about that, and he wanted to do something, and the best thing that at that moment occurred to him was to narrate it all to Colonel Adai of Port Burdock. So this is what happened in chapter 18, that how the Invisible Man slept in the bedroom of Dr. Kemp and got him out of his own room, Dr. Kemp couldn't sleep that night. Moreover, in the morning, it was when almost dawn, that invisible man woke up. He was in great pain. Dr. Kemp heard the sound of a chair flung, and then the washstand tumbler was smashed. He rushed upstairs to see what happened there. So apart from all this, now the further things, that how he narrate the story to Dr. Kemp, or whatever he did, how he came upon that invisibility formula. So all these things will be narrated in the later chapters. We'll come to know about them in the next chapters. So we'll know more about that one by one. So till then, thank you. Bye bye.